get started. It should say
Okay.
recording in progress.
Okay.
So I'm Allison, as you know, with Voices for Virginia's Children, and today's our Youth Advocacy Day, and we have 4 really awesome young people who are here to talk about priorities in Virginia, many of which I think Senator Favola would be a huge champion for. And the great thing is I'm recording this so we can send it to her afterwards. And also listening in is Ben Pavier with VPM, the local NPR in Richmond. And so with that, I'm going to pass it over to Elijah.
So it's going on VPM radio or on their television platform?
This would be on radio eventually, yeah. But
Okay.
I'm recording lots and lots of different interactions, so it won't just be this meeting.
I understand. Thank you for letting me know all that.
Uh-huh.
So good afternoon, young people. Can you want to take a minute to tell me who you are and your involvement in this group?
Yeah, Elijah's going to get us started.
Absolutely. So my name is Elijah Lee. I'm a 14-year-old student in the Chesapeake County Public School System. I am also the leader and founder of a nonprofit organization, and I have been a child abuse activist for the past 5 years. And I'm really out here just really mentioning youth empowerment, but more specifically, how do we, one, make youth our priority in Virginia? Like many of my colleagues will mention, youth are the future. We are the future of Virginia. We are our future legislators, our future delegates, our future senators, and so much more. And so right now, it is absolutely crucial that we begin prioritizing them and investing not only our money, but our time and our resources into them as well. And so there's a couple bills that I wanted to mention just because they were the bills that spoke to me and bills that I think Senator Favola would be very extreme fans of. The first one was SB 56, which is a foster care prevention program. What this bill does is it enhances foster care, makes it a bit larger, but it also is able to track these young children who at a different rate, right? So we're tracking them before they get into foster care, during their foster care experience, and then also after this. We are not only ensuring their safety at all times, but we're also working to make foster care constantly better, because we know that foster care is not like your average workforce. It is not your average business, but instead foster care is about making sure that every young person is, one, protected and safe, but two, understands that they're loved and they have a community behind them. The second one that I wanted to mention.
Can I just interject here? That is the senator's bill, so I can assure you she definitely supports it.
Absolutely.
We appreciate your advocacy in helping other members of the General Assembly to support it as well, because she is obviously quite passionate about that bill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so I think the next bill that I wanted to just mention was SB 434, which was a mental health specific bill. This bill would allow insurance companies to not only cover plans that would provide mental health services to make mental health more, one, accessible, and then two, affordable, but it also helps with substance abuse disorder to make sure that rehabilitation services are also becoming more affordable as we move into this new realm and new normalcy. I think these are, well, of course, these are bills that the senator will extremely support, not only because they are definitely hitting our adult Virginians very hard, but also our young people. And so again, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to your support.
Absolutely. Now, is that second bill that you mentioned is probably going to come before her committee? Do you know if it's been scheduled yet or not? Or I don't have that information right in front of me.
So I do not know that right now. I can refer this to Allison. If not, I can go check. Okay.
No, I can check as well. I just thought you might know off the top of your head. So thank you. Thank you very much for that. And well done.
Thank you. And I'm going to pass the mic to Ava.
Okay. Hi, Ava.
Hello. I'm Ava, as she said, and I'm 15 years old. I am a CEO and co-founder of Brown Ballerinas for Change, and I also attend St. Catherine's School, and I've attended St. Catherine's for 11 years. So I'm here to talk to you about prioritizing youth mental health, as Elijah touched on a little bit. And I'm going to open with the definition of mental health and a couple statistics. So mental health is a person's condition with regard to their psychological and emotional well-being. And an estimated 20% of teens will experience depression before reaching adulthood. So as I stated previously, I attend a private school and have for the majority of my life. And when talking to my peers, I came to the realization that private school mental health is prioritized more than public schools. For example, in the winter, we were given bingo cards with self-care and mindfulness activities to complete. And I even have a health and wellness sticker on the back of my phone that was given to me by my school. The 5 main aspects of a personal health included on this health and wellness wheel are intellectual, emotional, social, spiritual, and physical. Many of these aspects of health and wellness, including social and physical, were ripped away from youth as they endured difficulties of virtual school for the entirety of the 2020-2021 school year. These students were isolated from their classmates, stripping the social aspect away, and living a sedentary lifestyle as they attended virtual classes for 8 hours a day. These are not hard asks, and it should be a priority to protect the aspects of wellness for our children, because the 5 dimensions of a wellness wheel are necessary to having a balanced and happy life, which everyone is deserving of. I'm also a member of the Student Health and Wellness Board at my school, because the stability and mental health of my peers is valuable to me. As it is hard for many to admit, I say with confidence that I'm privileged to go to a school that recognizes and actually does something about mental health of their students, because without students, there would be no school. Youth are the key to education, and if we don't prioritize their needs, why should they prioritize a school system that hasn't been there for them when they need it the most? I tell you all of this to defend my argument that people that attend private schools have more systems put in place to protect and recognize their mental health. But why? All youth, private school or not, deserve the same mental health resources and someone who may be more privileged than them. Sorry, that's my sister. To add on to points, I believe that schools need more school counselors and less school resource officers. While we are worried about the safety of our children, we are ignoring various signs of mental health. But if you really value keeping children safe, protect our mental health. The idea of what is prioritized versus what students need is common amongst schools, because of what they prioritize is different than what we actually need. In Hanover County, there has been a multitude of suicides just in the 2021-2022 school year. It has been ignored and disregarded. Hanover County is not the only school system that is flawed or that has suffered, but youth suicide rates have surged since the start of the pandemic. When is enough enough? How many lives or policies are put in place to protect our students? If we want to keep students safe and keep our students from burying their classmates, it is crucial that we count on your support. Thank you for your time today.
Oh, certainly. And I want to, again, compliment you. Your presentation was very interesting. And I'd like, if you could, to, and maybe Allison can help you with the data, but if you could take pictures of those things that you were given by your school, like particularly, you mentioned a sticker. Is it a sticker that went on your backpack? Perfect. Yes. Take that. If you could send me photos of those items, I'd like the senator to see them, and also they're really good ideas. So thank you. That would be terrific.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ava. And I'm going to pass the mic over to Kennedy.
Hi, my name is Kennedy George. I'm 15 years old. I am from Henrico County, Virginia, and I am also a CEO and co-founder of Brown Ballerinas for Change. Today,
what was your organization again?
Brown Ballerinas for Change.
Brown Ballot. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So today I'm here to talk to you about equity across all schools, as well as what my peers stated before, mental health resources. I bring a perspective of attending both a predominantly white and Black school. So I think that it's very important to provide the same reliable, helpful resources with an emphasis on the mental health resources, especially with the transition of school being virtual, as well as returning in person. It's vital to create a safe space and I think a sense of community. I came into my first year of high school online. I felt extremely lonely, isolated, and really I just got super unmotivated. I felt generally really anxious about how my high school experience was going to go. And I was just mourning that normalcy and just the excitement of being able to be a high school student. So personally, I became extremely depressed and burnt out. I remember from being a dedicated AV student to almost literally not making it through my freshman year. But I did. And I did that with having a stable home and an amazing support system provided by my family. So I couldn't even imagine those who don't have that stable environment or safe household. With that being said, what I'm asking of you would be to create more or fund already created mental health programs and resources in schools, as well as investing in further education of mental health lessons. That could touch on prevention, just having also knowing who we can go to, not just our teachers, but our students. Like if we can't hold our peers accountable and just reaching out if we see something that looks off and being able to have that space to say that. So lastly, I believe another solution would be to reduce the ratio and install more counselors in schools. I hope that you'll take into consideration all of these important subjects when thinking about the future. Thank you so much for your time.
It's my pleasure. You are not alone, Kennedy. I've heard several anecdotal reports of very good students, excellent students, who just their grades tanked because of being at home and being out of contact, particularly in the middle school and high school levels. That's certainly an important, that's when young people are perfecting their social skills, and really that whole interconnectedness is important, very important. So I'm glad you're doing well and doing better, but I appreciate the fact that you're using that newfound energy and awareness for your advocacy. Very good.
Thank
Excellent.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kennedy. And then we're going to wrap up today with Aliana.
Hello, I'm Aliana Carr. I'm 16 years old. I'm from Henrico, and I've been attending Trinity Episcopal School for the past 3 years. Today, I'm going to be focusing on implementing clinical mental health resources in our schools and clinical mental health resources within our underfunded communities. As we know, young people are the future, and if we want a stable future, we have to invest in our youth, specifically the mental health resources in our schools and our underfunded communities. After the pandemic hit, there was a severe decline in mental health stability, specifically within our youth. Personally, I've experienced firsthand what it is like to suffer from a variety of mental health conditions as a result of the pandemic and the lack of resources in my school. Since the beginning of my junior year, I've maintained a 4.0 GPA. I've participated in dance for around 13 to 16 hours every week. I've maintained a job, and I've also juggled mainly IB and honors classes. And when I began to spiral mentally at the beginning of the school year, I reached out to my school counselor for help, and I didn't get the help that I needed. And after months of not receiving the help that I needed, I lost motivation to participate in my classes. I found myself struggling to focus on my work, and it got to the point where I could barely focus in class, and I dropped dance, which I had been participating in for over 6 years. And when I finally reached out for help from my parents, it took me over a month to get the help that I needed from a licensed therapist. Now I'm just beginning to recover from severe depression while still suffering from anxiety. And this could have been avoided if I received the resources that I needed when I first reached out, rather than having to wait months to receive help. This is the issue with the lack of mental health resources in regards to the majority of our youth. By the time that most teenagers receive the help they need, it's too late, and it takes months, if not years, for them to recover if they do at all. People of color, especially those who live in underfunded communities, are more likely to suffer from mental health issues and not receive the help that they need. Our youth deserve equal opportunities to receive the clinical mental health resources that they need. And if our youth have access to the mental health resources that they need, many teenagers will thrive in school and beyond that point. Everyone deserves a fair chance to thrive in life, and that opportunity should not be hindered by not having access to the mental health resources for it. And this is why we need to implement more mental health resources into our schools. We need to implement pieces of training in our schools for our teachers that focus on how to handle and provide help for students who suffer from mental health conditions. And we also need more licensed therapists in our schools for those who don't have access to receive one-on-one help. And we need to invest money into our underfunded communities so that they also receive the help that they need. The future of our country relies on our youth. How can our youth thrive? How can our country thrive if our youth can't function in their day-to-day lives because they're struggling with their mental health conditions? This is why I'm asking you for your help. You should consider the bill SB 62. It focuses on establishing a committee to inform school boards on what they must provide in schools. And it should include implementing clinical mental health resources and accessibility to licensed therapists. And this bill will provide our youth with a greater chance at thriving in school settings and outside of schools. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. And again, I thank you for your advocacy. SB 62 also is a bill that's being patroned by Senator Favola. So your advocacy is certainly appreciated by her, and we have high hopes for both, both of those bills that you've mentioned, as well as the other efforts. I hope you don't mind me asking a personal follow-up question. What do you think helped you emerge from your depression? Were you able to finally get counseling, or was there, did life circumstances change? What do you think has helped you back on this path to a good and happy, rewarding experience?
Personally, when I started to go through my depression, my circumstances really were not ideal. And when I finally got the help that I needed, I did eventually get to go to a licensed therapist, and I still see her to this day. In fact, after this advocacy meeting, I have a therapy appointment with her.
Well, we know each other to be late.
So I think what really pulled me out of that depression was my will to, I guess, not be in that depressed state anymore, because when you are depressed, everything in your life just kind of falls apart. It feels like you're hopeless. It feels like there's no point in life. And I had to make the decision for myself that I'm not going to live like this anymore, and that I have so much that I can be doing in this world. I have so much opportunity. My future ahead of me is great. So I'm going to pull myself out of this, and I'm going to get back on my stuff, and I'm going to work hard, and I'm going to make sure that I make a way for myself. So it was really like a personal effort to pull myself out of it, because I was just so tired of waking up every day and feeling hopeless and feeling like I had no point to live.
Well, and you're right, though, that made for a greater motivation, I should think, to seek professional advice, support, treatment, etc. And I'm a firm believer. I'm so old compared to you guys. I'm so old, but I can say from my life experience, an examined life makes, in the end, for a very rich and rewarding and satisfying life. So to look at yourselves, to look at ways that you can improve, to seek the help that you want and the support you need. In the end, those are good skills for your lives and the years ahead. So I commend you all. You're so bright and so articulate, and this has just been a delightful experience. I don't mean to make you late, but I also have one more question to ask. How do, and any of you can answer this, how do you feel about having more mental health assistance available through telemedicine? Where are you, how do you feel about, I guess, maybe the delivery system? Do you feel like it needs to be someone in the school, or just somebody that you could have a relationship with through the phone or the internet?
If I can just kind of speak for everybody, I think that having those resources in place, it doesn't have to be specifically someone from that school. In some cases, it can help knowing someone that you're close to speak to. But I find more times that people feel comfortable talking to people that they don't know, because they don't have really like a personal connection with them, and they don't have to be a